The Drake Sword, I think we've already read, but that's a thing where it's like, hey, Drakes are descendants of dragons and they're pretty powerful. Man Serpent Great Sword, I don't think has anything on it either. You'd have difficulty using it, and it's a great sword that is the choice of the slithering serpent men of Sen's Fortress.
Yeah, that's the only lore they get, isn't
it? Yeah. You could point out that there is some lore later on that points out that snakes are imperfect dragons, so to an extent the snake men are probably dragons dragon descendants who took the form of human beings for some strange reason.
I thought we decided they were a gene splice.
Yeah, they probably were. The Stone Knights who guard the Dark Group, the Garden, use this great sword. The great magic which created the Stone Knights is imbued within the sword. You can use this to make everything heavier. Moonlight Greatsword. This sword is one of the rare dragon weapons. It comes from the tale of Seath, the pale white dragon who betrayed his own. Seath is the grandfather of sorcery, and the sword is imbued with magic, which shall be unleashed as a wave of moonlight, which you've done numerous times. This sword appears in almost every FromSoft game, including Kingsfield, and some of the Armored Core games.
That's weird.
That's the weird one, and every Dark Souls, obviously. Like Patches, where Patches is the calling card of Miyazaki, who's the director of this game, and shows up in every game that Miyazaki has ever done, including some of the Armored Core.
Okay.
So Patches shows up as a character in a couple of Armored Core games, and it's just kind of like, that's really strange.
Sure.
Demon Great Machete. The lesser Capra demons use these great swords in pairs. The blade is cast iron and hooked. The sword is imbued with no particular magic, but for those who have the strength, the great weight will smash foes mercilessly. And then you've got the Demon Greatsword, which is
Dragon
like this.
Greatsword.
Yeah, whatever. The sword's one of the rare dragon weapons. It came from the tail of the stone dragon at Ash Light, descendant of the great dragons. Its mystical power will be unleashed when wielded with two hands, which we've done.
Okay.
So the issue is that a lot of these aren't really going to have much of anything that's important going on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hand you back this controller, and I'm going to tell you where I want you to go.
All right.
And then just go there, and I'll start having a horrible conversation, wherein I'm talking and you can interrupt me at any time.
I mean, that's how most of our conversations work.
Yeah, kinda. Okay.
You talk, and I just be like, wait, what the fuck did you just say?
Okay. So, basically, the rundown that I'm going to give you is kind of, without going too far into it, but now that we have kind of a basis for a lot of this stuff, I am going to explain the general lore of Dark Souls.
Alright.
You're going to want to sit down at this fire when you wake up, by the way.
When I wake up?
Well, when you get up.
Alright. Speaking of waking up, it's getting
I
kind of
hate
late.
how far it pulls you back every time.
Yeah, that was
Well,
a lot.
let's just do this one thing and
Hi,
then we'll
sis.
stop. So go ahead and go into hell.
Alright.
Do you remember where the secret path is?
You don't mean the elevator.
No, I don't mean the elevator. I mean the one that... God, it's gonna suck. You've got to go through here, hang a right at the lava, go through all of those demons, go through the doors, keep going, pull another right, and then run down the roots to a gigantic fucking door down there.
Okay. I can't believe there's no other warpable bonfire.
Yeah,
down there.
I hate the amount of... Like, the warpable bonfires in this zone are terrible. So basically, Dark Souls is, in my opinion, a game about gods who hate humans.
Okay.
That is, to be honest,
That's actually a pretty good metaphor for the gameplay.
it a little bit. It's so basically the lore is that you have the First Flame, right?
Yeah.
First Flame appears out of nowhere in the middle of the ash. You've got pygmies who touch it, and each of the pygmies who touch it take a piece of it to them, and in taking that piece, become someone. They become someone important, and they are given like purpose and intelligence on top of just existence.
But they all turn into different things, and they all have different
Yes,
gimmicks.
because each of them is unique, and in coming in contact with
But
this...
it's the same flame.
Yeah, but they're different pygmies. Not different kinds of pygmies, they're just different individuals.
So it's just your personality?
A little bit. So Gwyn touches it, and he becomes the first of the gods.
But his uncle doesn't.
Yeah, but his uncle doesn't. Yeah. So the idea, if we ignore Lloyd, right, just push him off into the corner, is that Gwyn is the progenitor of all gods. I think it's probably more likely that Gwyn was the first god who touched the flame and became a god. And then the pygmies who were his family, including his uncle and maybe even parents, were then given the flame. And they became gods because Gwyn had set a precedence. You can roll to the right down here and just land on that bonfire instead of fighting these guys. Just like reminding you in case you've already forgotten.
Yeah,
This area is really confusing.
Yeah.
And then when you get to the staircase over here, remember you can just rush through these guys. You don't even have to fight them.
Yeah.
In fact, it's better if you don't because they will corrode all of your gear if you fight them.
Well, these guys don't.
No, these guys are fine.
These guys just warble garble.
Yeah, these are just annoying. So basically, Gwyn wakes up and he becomes a god, and the gods are like, okay, well, that's great. Then you have Nito who touches it and becomes the first dead. So Nito's the first guy who dies,
dead,
I guess. I don't know.
Does he sit in the fire and it burns his shit?
No, he just picks it up and becomes the first of the dead.
Okay,
I mean, maybe he was already dead. It's unclear.
One near me. Yep.
Yep, there he's right there. So Nito's like, okay, I'm the first of the dead. I don't need a race because
missed.
everybody dies. Go to the right here. You missed it. There you go.
Are they gonna follow me?
They probably shouldn't, but even if they try to, they're gonna fall. Just
they
keep
don't.
moving
They
forward.
don't want. Am I just going all the way down?
Yeah, just go all the way down. So fucking Nito's the first of the dead, and he goes, well, I don't need a people because everybody dies eventually. So those are my people. And then you've got the witch who touches it, and she goes, okay, well, I'm, the witch, and here's all of my daughters, and they're their own race as well. Yeah, go ahead and kill these bugs. It doesn't really matter, but...
Do they drop anything good?
I don't think they do. I think they just drop souls, and that's it.
Because I'm looking for red titanite, and
not at all. Okay, that's bad. He should not take damage over there. That means that there's a bug near him. Talk to that man. Be careful not to hit him, too.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I know you love this guy.
This is the last interaction you'll have with him, too.
I'm getting rid of this bug. It's making me nervous.
I don't think they actively go after characters, by the way. I think that was just an unlucky hop where one landed on top of him.
Yeah, just being... Yeah.
I think, in fact, they run away from player characters.
Something about this guy is just not sat right with me this entire time.
Have I done this all for nothing? Oh.
He's just really sad.
Were you really all this time just looking for a bug? You knew it was a bug and you wanted a bug.
No, he had heard that there was a sun here because somebody was fucking with him. And he came down here and there was nothing.
Someone told him that if he goes to hell, he'll get a hell bug?
Yeah, it might have been Patches.
That makes sense.
Okay, so this is the last interaction you have with him. And he's just, it's the exact same thing. So you can just leave now. Go ahead and use your homeward bone or fight the there's a demon at the top of this that you never killed.
Yeah, I didn't, so I might want to
So you can
try
go
it.
after him if you want to.
Or if I die, that'll just bone me home.
Yeah, kind of. There's a little lizard here.
Damn
so
it.
you fucked up big time. He's running.
Fuck.
Oh, keep going.
I'm trying.
He's running. You better run too. Hey, you got him.
Wow. That was
It's
really
been a bit
clumsy.
since you've had to do that, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. So you have Nito who's like, yeah, I'm the dead, and then you have the Witch of Izalith who touches it and she becomes a witch. So those are your basic races, and then you have the furted pygmy, who's the guy who got the tiniest piece. The furted pygmy got the dark piece of the fire, right? So pygmies go on to eventually become human beings. And the rest of the races go on to become their own thing.
Oof.
The gods hate humans and actively try to sequester them off and away from themselves.
Fuck this guy.
Yeah,
Well-
no, he's a dick. I told you when we first found this guy that most people just walk around him. And, like, run around and just never fight this guy. He
just
drops
gonna bone
the
away.
same thing as everybody else. And that's it. I think he
Okay.
might drop the weapon.
Am I warping?
Because he's the last one. Yeah, go ahead and warp back to Firelink.
So you just wanted me to talk to a sad man.
Yeah, we had to talk to him before we actually finished this. So, with enough time, the fire starts to die. And this is after Gwyn basically finds out that, okay, so light and dark are opposite elements, right?
Do we want me to go anywhere in particular?
Go and talk to the snake.
Okay.
But give it a little minute. Maybe just sit at the bonfire so that I can finish this thought
Well,
before
that's
we do
boring
anything.
looking, so I'll wander around.
Yeah, if you want to do that.
I'll just go kill some skeletons.
Okay. Because Grandma hates skeletons.
She does.
So
That's
Gwyn,
the real lore.
Gwyn goes, okay, I found out about light and dark. Frampt told me. Light is in direct opposition of dark. In Dark Souls, it is not that you have light and then dark, which is the absence of light. You have light and dark as physical things that exist. Light and dark are two opposing elementals, where it's like, if light's not there, you don't have dark, you have gray. And
Okay.
dark is a different thing entirely that rushes in that can combat light super hard. So you can have both light and dark in a room without it being like light and then the absence of light, so to speak.
Okay.
It's confusing.
No, it's the way we conceptualize hot and cold,
Yeah, but it's applied to like light and
which we still
darkness.
do apply to light and dark. It's just like we
Sometimes.
gotta turn off the part of our brain that understands the actual physics.
Yeah,
Fuck
so
you, buddy. Fuck both of you. I can kick you both at once.
yeah, but they're gonna start hitting. I don't know how the fuck you hit him. You bounced and hit him behind you. That was weird.
It's because I hate skeletons so much.
So Gwyn finds out about this and finds out that human beings have the dark soul. So he starts punishing humans. And Gwyn starts a religion. So he goes, we're the gods. Human beings now worship gods. And it's the Church of, I want to say it's the Church of the White or something like that. So they start this whole thing where it's like, here's Gwyn and here's the intro. I know, I see it. Here's the intro
oh my
to the
god,
game.
that hip keeps spinning.
Yeah, and the intro to the game though is like their equivalent of Genesis. So that's the church that worships the gods. And the gods are like, okay, well, we slayed the dragons, or rather, they start to slay the dragons, and then they take the help of human beings to do it.
Sorry if people are tired of me running into here and killing skeletons.
No, it's fine. Just let me finish what I'm
Yeah.
saying. So he goes in and he starts a war with the dragons, and he's like, let's just wipe out all the rest of the dragons, because the fire needs to be protected because it's starting to wane. And he's looking at it and he's like, okay, if the fire is going out, that means that something is going on with the dark. And he looks at humans and he goes, they're to blame. So they start the religion to kind of subjugate human beings, and it works super well, but the fire is still going out. So they do the whole war against the dragons, and they do all this other shit, and all this shit goes down, and the fire is still going out. So Gwyn goes, what is left to do? And the Witch of Izalith goes, I have an idea. I'll use the piece of fire that I have, that is my soul, and I'll make a new fire.
That skeleton had pants on. I
Yeah,
just
the
thought that
babies
was
all
funny.
do. She's like, I'll make a new fire. I'll make a second, like, first flame, right? So she tries it and creates the bed of chaos and the, what is it? There's a word. It's like the horrid flame or like the messed up flame. So she makes this other flame, and it explodes, and it turns their entire society into a hellscape, and turns all their people into demons. And she's like, well, fuck, that messed up. Clearly I didn't do something correct, except she's a bug now, so she doesn't even think that. And Gwyn goes, something is wrong. I'm gonna have to go down there, and I'm gonna have to fucking stop her, because she is, like, the demons are getting to be a problem. So Gwyn goes down there with his Silver Knights, leaves a bunch of them in Anor Londo, and tries to fight the demons, and holds them back significantly, and just seals them where they are. So demons can't leave hell until you come along and you eventually break down the barrier that was keeping them separate.
Wait, what barrier did I do?
There was, you know those
Specifically?
weird golden barriers? I think you only saw one
Oh,
once.
okay, yeah.
Those were the barriers that were put in place by Gwyn to hold things where they were.
Yeah,
The
I
problem
remember
is that he
those.
didn't actually succeed in doing very much for the demons because there were tons of demons that slipped past that, including both of the Spider Sister.
Yeah, and the like one guy who was sitting up there with his 2 dogs just
Yeah, that guy
chilling,
too, and the
everyone
one-
was just sitting around being like, "There's a demon up there. We don't know why."
Yeah, also the one on the fucking bridge. It was that. So the gods are like, okay, well, Gwyn takes his Silver Knights down. The Silver Knights get turned black by the fire from fighting demons. And then Gwyn goes, okay, I'm gonna go fix the flame. And he leaves, and the flame gets fixed, but Gwyn doesn't come back. So everybody goes, okay, Gwyn has fixed the fire. We're in a new age of fire. The dark has been subsided, but Gwyn has not come back, and he gave very important instructions to Frampt. And they go, what do you want us to do? And Frampt goes, from now on, we need to take human beings and tell them that they need to continue the age of fire. They need to be the heirs of fire. So in order to do that, they're going to have to go out and collect the souls of the gods to undo the locks that Gwyn put in place, and then go down and do stuff with the flame. So everybody's accepting this, and they go, okay, and it becomes a part of their religion, and it gets pushed super hard. So you wake up in a cell because you were a hollow that they put in jail because you were too far gone, but you wake up with some amount of intelligence, and you go, oh, wait, I'm not dead anymore? And then you get taken by a crow who is probably like an animal form of a god to this place to be the new person who's supposed to, like, push shit forward.
I forgot that changing zones brings things back.
So now what we are doing is we have all of the pieces of this puzzle. We are going into the door with Kath, or with Frampt rather, not Kath. Kath is the other one. And we are going to go down and we are going to find the first flame, which is a door that has not been opened since Gwyn walked into it with his Black Knights.
Question.
Yes.
So there's, in addition to, like, the uncle and shit, who are, like, just not really accounted for, relatives. So the nameless blacksmith Titanite god, was that a pygmy who ate some fire?
So that was a
was
god.
The crow lady?
Yes, all of them were probably originally pygmies who imbued themselves with when Gwyn woke up, the beings that were like him got turned into gods. He was the only one that had a piece of the fire. So he's not actually their dad, but it is because he woke up that all of them became gods.
Who did he procreate with to make his kids?
That probably a wife? I don't know.
Like
it's
a
it's a good
regular
question.
one?
I have no idea. Like, it's not really very well explained or anything like that when it comes to that, because their religion is really messing up everything, because nobody's sure what the hell is actually going on. There are a handful more of these that I just didn't read, and it's things like the soul of Gravelord Nito, first of the dead. This Lord's soul was discovered at the dawn of the Age of Fire. Gravelord Nito administers the death of all manner of beings. The power of this soul is so great that it satiates the Lord vessel, despite the fact that so much of its energy has already been offered to death.
Hey, if we're a zombie and, like, everything about us is zombie, how come we're not already owned by him?
Because you are an undead, you're a human being.
So...
He owns the concept of death, so if you stayed dead, you'd be his, but you don't stay dead. So you're in active opposition of him.
But a zombie doesn't count as staying dead.
Zombies do not count. No.
What counts as staying dead in
'Cause
order
you're
to
still
be under
alive.
his ownership? That he...
Like a
So
skeleton
you just-
that don't move.
So you just need to be completely inanimate.
If you're an actual skeleton, you're probably Nidos at that point.
Okay.
Soul of the bed of chaos and the mother of all demons. This Lord's soul was found at the dawn of the Age of Fire. The Witch of Izalith attempted to duplicate the first flame from a soul, but instead created a distorted being of chaos and fire. Its power formed a bed of life, which would become the source of all demons, and is more than enough to satiate the Lord vessel.
And yet we need all of them.
Yeah. And Soul of the Albino Seath the Scaleless, a fragment of a Lord soul discovered at the dawn of the Age of Fire. Seath allied with Lord Gwyn and turned upon the dragons, and for this he was awarded dukedom. embraced by the royalty and given a fragment of a great soul. Although just a piece, it will still satiate the Lord Vessel. So what you have done is you have put down the 4 kings already. You have Seath, who also has a piece of Gwyn's soul, and the 4 kings had Gwyn's soul as well.
Remind me why they had it?
Because Gwyn gave it to them as a means to satiate mankind, which he believed was an incoming age of dark.
I'm always tempted to kick this guy.
Don't kick Patches, he's cool.
No, he's not?
Yeah, but he's not fighting you right now, so he's that kind of cool. So you basically have already given a piece of Gwyn, you're going to give a second piece of Gwyn, and then you're going to give all of Nito and all of the Bed of Chaos, which is the first of the witches. You're effectively giving all of the pieces of the fire to that cup down there.
So, is this guy an immortal dragon?
He's a snake. He's an imperfect dragon.
He's literally just a snake, though.
He is immortal, though. He's he has a special name. It's like the, I don't know, it's something serpent.
So they
like
exist,
the primordial serpent.
So did he exist before all this other shit?
Yes. But Frampt is a friend to the gods, specifically. They rely on Frampt for a ton of shit, and he was the personal confidant of Gwyn.
His teeth have flesh on them.
Yes, they do.
Just straight up.
Yes, they do.
I hate him.
Or you could argue that they're caps of, like, copper or something like that. But yeah, he's got some fucked up teeth.
Are we just...
So, Warp, go ahead.
Then stay still for a moment.